I'm Wolfman Sam here with my partner Johnny Buff Gunz, and we are
Creatures of the Night.
Johnny, you want to start us off?
Yes. Recently, after wrapping up the 80s stream I've done recently with my girlfriend, I recently watched Tetsuo The Iron Man, mentioning this part of one of the 80s film, and Tetsuo The Iron Man, I needed a break after watching this movie.
Tetsuo, for those of you that don't know, is a very for those of you that do know the work of David Lynch and Cronenberg, it's sort of like the Japanese equivalent of combining the two. It's essentially about a man who is cursed to be turned into metal.
Right.
That's the basic premise. But, the best way to enjoy this film is go into completely blind.
Yeah.
And even if you know a little bit about the film, you're still going to be blown away just by the absurdity and the definitely the surrealism and gore of the film. It's a black and white gore fest, and I've talked a little bit about it before on the podcast, but it was really kind of the director's sort of middle finger to his dad, who was a Japanese salaryman. So it has a very rebellious spirit. There's a lot of different editing techniques that he uses, but it is a bizarre, gory, just surreal madhouse of a movie, and it's one of those movies that, in my opinion, and I always love this term because ever since I coined it, but it's what I call cinema or Stockholm syndrome, or movie Stockholm syndrome, where the movie is so out of its mind, so out of its gourd, that you as the viewer kind of become captured to it, and by the end of it, you're just like, okay, I'm in it to win it, let's go.
Right.
And by the end of the film, that's how I felt. Is like, all right, here we go. We'll turn the world into metal, whatever.
But before watching the movie, I had to warm up by just doing go exercise a little bit, go on the treadmill, walk for a couple seconds.
The pacing of it is all over the place.
Yeah,
it is all over the place, and it's very difficult to follow. It's not in English, so it is very difficult to follow, but. Yeah, it's definitely on ADD for sure. It definitely has a case of ADD.
Right, you got something.
But it's meant to kind of be very in your face, very unapologetic film, but a really, really cool film. Allegedly it inspired Nine Inch Nails. It was a film that inspired Trent Reznor of Nine Inch Nails.
Right.
I could definitely see, judging by the soundtrack, which the soundtrack is literal industrial metal. You have pipings and heavy metal music with pipings and metal sounds, and it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, in a way, it was kind of like a more messed up version of Videodrome to some degree.
Yeah, it's in that surreal camp, Videodrome, Scanners. Like I said, it's sort of like a marriage between the surrealism of David Lynch with the gore and body horror of Cronenberg.
Yes. And take those two and this is what you get.
Yeah, this is the Sonic Rainbow Bridge, basically.
Yeah, I know. Because after watching, I'm like, okay, now I really need some break. And
after watching this film, you almost need a mental break.
Yes.
To get back to something normal and of this world, because it's a whole nother world that is literally heavy metal.
Yeah. Yeah, it was an interesting experience, but I think I won't rewatch it for a while unless if I do a video on it for my YouTube channel.
Yeah, it's very mentally taxing for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh yeah, very. Yeah, it was an interesting experience, but like I said, I won't be rewatching it anytime soon again, but...
Now, here's the question.
What's that?
Did you like it?
Like I said, it was interesting and okay. I don't know if I liked it to death like you did, but
Well, I enjoyed it because it was different. I'd never seen
Right.
anything like it. I don't think I'll ever see anything like it again. I'm sure there's imitators out
Probably.
there. I'm sure, especially
Right.
in the Japanese sphere.
Right.
But I'd never seen anything like it. Like in terms of looking at it as like an artist's point of view, it's like
Right.
it's totally in your face, totally unapologetic, and almost like a heavy metal industrial '90s music video before either was a thing.
Well, even though this came out in like '88 or '89, in
Yeah,
between those
well, that's
years.
that's my point of it being like either before either was a thing, because this is late '80s, but it pioneers like you could totally see like Marilyn Manson making a music video using this movie, or
Right.
or Trent Reznor of Nine Inch Nails
Right.
paying tribute to this movie. It's in that very um, vein of like this had to have an influence on not only the film culture but definitely the music culture.
Absolutely. Everyone's inspired from something in life or in any form of art or media.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What else you wanted to talk about? You had a couple films you saw recently.
Yes, I recently saw the
Recent
movies
horror.
of Obsession and Backrooms, directed by YouTubers, and I feel like this is like the era of like YouTube directors, where YouTubers are getting their chance and opportunity to direct. Well, basically, they're directing low budget movies, and then they're like basically making big blockbusters out of them. And I feel like the movie Obsession is an example of how like it's right up there with Halloween, Blair Witch Project, indie horror,
Right,
now
right,
a big
right.
sensation.
Well, it's like I said before, and we've talked about this in length in a couple of episodes on our podcast, and it's basically what I've been calling from the stands. This is the age? This is the Iron Age,
Right.
where in terms of filmmaking and art, you're going to start seeing a lot of independent filmmakers coming out with these, either using AI or whatever
Well,
technology.
the beauty of these movies, there was not use of AI at all.
Right, but I'm just saying. I'm just saying for an example, right? But
Right.
yeah, you're going to see these films that are not of the Hollywood machine coming out, by these independent directors, and some are going to be really good, like Obsession and Backrooms. Though I have not seen them
Yeah.
myself, so I can't
Well.
speak. But you have.
Right. On a brief note, the way Obsession was about a guy who's in love with this woman, but she doesn't really love him back, and so basically he makes the ultimate. Let me tell you, be careful what you wish for in life. Where he basically makes a wish, wishing that the woman that he loves falls for him, but probably not a good idea.
Yeah, it lives up to his name.
Well, because the problem is that she has like she can't make up her own decisions on whether or not she wants him or
Right,
not.
because the magic or the wish kind of compels her.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
at least what I
it
got.
does.
At
I
least
was
what I got from the trailer.
I was mesmerized from the movie. I saw it twice. I saw it opening week. I saw it with my buddy last week, and I was like,
I
"Whoa!"
have to see it. I have to see it. It's
Yes,
definitely on my
and
list.
my mother was surprised to hear to say how very scared I was of it because you rarely say that. Well, I meant scared in a good way. How it was very effective.
Well,
Her
that's
performance.
that's the mark of a good horror film.
Yes.
Not always the case. You can be entertained.
Oh
You
yeah.
can
No,
be
I've watched horror film where I was entertained, where I wasn't always scared, but there's always the occasion, like, okay, now this, for
yeah, but
once, this is a
it
horror
takes a
film always
lot. It
scared
takes
me.
a lot, especially I think in this day and age, to genuinely scare somebody.
Oh yeah, right. It was like it's and like I said, it's the one thing I also think about this film. There's already the works of a sequel, but not necessarily where it's going to be a follow. Maybe like an anthology. Like okay, not just a
Um,
wish, a love wish. It could be a wish on any wish, and the price you pay for.
well, yeah. I mean, it could, and I could definitely see that. I just hope they don't milk it too hard.
That's what I hope
You
so too.
know,
That's going to go either way.
like because all I'm seeing down the pike is basically what happens with Terrifier. Now,
Right,
I like the first Terrifier movie. I do.
right,
I do. It's kind of a guilty pleasure.
right. It's
But by the second one, I was like, okay, okay. I,
I guess you didn't.
I
I
did.
guess
We
you didn't
didn't need a second one. We
I
didn't
guess you
need a
didn't like
third one, but we're still going.
I guess you didn't like the Clown Cafe song in the second movie.
Yeah, yeah. It's just like I said. Some things look good on paper, but when it comes to execution,
Right.
sometimes, in my opinion, like I
Right.
said, this is my opinion. My opinion ain't Bible. That
Right. Well, I don't know. I guess I feel like with me with the Terrifier films, I saw every one of them. I figure I might as well keep up with them. Kind of, it's Art the Clown is the modern day Michael Myers, Freddy, Jason.
Yeah, and it's clear that they really want to emulate, along with Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Regardless on how you feel about that show,
Right.
I'm not
I love
really
that show. It was great.
big of, I'm not really that big of a fan.
Right. Not for
But
everybody.
yeah, but it kind of goes with the like sort of the retro exploitation horror film.
Right.
You know.
Right. Well, the other thing too about Terrifier is that people either enjoy the blood or guts or not, or
Yeah, and to its credit, it's got great effects. But
yeah,
it's like it almost comically tries to top its score.
a little
With
bit, and
its
especially
like
how well, remember how Freddy Krueger was with his one-liners? This is Art the Clown's body language comedy.
right, right, and it's like I get what they're doing. I get that they're trying to really make like this Freddy Krueger meets Michael Myers kind of,
Or Pennywise.
like definitely trying to give art personality. But
Yes.
it comes off as, at least in my opinion, like I said, you guys can like the movie, but in
Right.
my opinion, it's way too try hard. It's like, oh,
Right.
look at, he's ripping out the guts. He's using his garters. Look at it. Look at it. Look at
Right.
it. Look how gory it's getting.
Right.
Oh my God. It's just like, all right, we get it. We get it. It's not shocking. It's just, it's like an art student begging for attention. Again, my opinion. My opinion is not gospel.
Right. And also on the side note, the movie Backrooms, which was more about like a guy who works in a furniture store and he like finds this like other like dimension. But the thing about this film, you had to really really pay attention. It had to sink. I had to
Right.
after seeing the film, I had to like let it sink in for a little bit to think. Okay, what did I just see? What was like the point of this movie? What am I?
It's kind of a film to digest.
Yeah, exactly. That's the kind of film I
It's a
would describe
slow
it.
digestion kind of. I have to see it. I have to see it.
Yes,
I'm,
I
I'm
don't think it's
familiar. I'm familiar with the creepypasta that it's based off of. I'm
right,
familiar with the memes that it's based off of.
right.
I kind of laughed at the premise when I heard about it, but if it's good, it's good.
Well, it's true they say don't judge a book by its cover, but this
Yeah,
is well. I
like I
basically
said,
again
it can be.
go into both movies blind and no less, and when you see, you might be surprised possibly, but I can't
Yeah,
speak for
I
you.
want to be surprised. I want to
Right,
be. I want to be thrilled, about something new, especially something that's coming out of somebody that genuinely has an interesting vision.
right. Well, especially how
This
like
is
as a horror fan, this was my third favorite of the decade. Obsession of with because number one is Pearl, number two is Sinners, and the third one is Obsession. Made my top three favorite horror of this decade.
right, right, and that really should be. And I'm happy to see independent creators coming out of the woodwork and making what they want to make.
Right,
Not being a slave to what's politically correct or whatever. 'Cause
right.
that's what it should be. That's what it should be. It's art. It's your vision.
Yeah.
Have your vision be your vision.
Well, but like I said, just don't make a wish to make someone fall in love with you.
No,
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 don't. No.
no, no. If there's anything anime and Fatal Attraction has taught me,
Well, that's one
be
way.
careful
Like I
what
said,
you wish for. Your girlfriend
right.
or boyfriend could be homicidally obsessed with you.
That's well, that's the way I describe Obsession. It's like take the movie Possession and Fatal Attraction. Put them together. This is what you get.
If it was an anime, actually, it's funny. There's an anime called Future Diary or Yume Nikki, depending on which translation you want to use.
Right.
And it has a very similar concept of a girlfriend or a love interest that becomes obsessed with the main character.
Right.
To the point of murder. It's what is known in anime circles as a yandere. A yandere is just somebody that's usually a woman. In case some cases are guys, but usually a woman of high school age that it becomes obsessed with the high school.
Right. Well, that's
to the point of murder.
Well, in the movie, the characters, they knew each other since I think either middle school or something. Sorry, I'm not remembering 100%, but the point they knew each other for a long, long time. But and before the wish, again, not explained, but the sense you get is that she does like the guy, but not necessarily like love him like a boyfriend, more like a friend and a brother.
Right. You know.
Yeah. Again, no explanation, just the sense you get.
He's my friend. You know.
Yes.
But you know, I mean, I don't mean to pick the film apart, but I like to do this because I'm a fan of things. But you think all his props could have been solved if he was just a little bit more communicative?
In a way, yes, but
instead of using the magical, I'm not saying that's But
again, the
premise is good.
Yes,
but I'm saying just for me to just kind of make fun of it. I feel like if he just talked to the girl in the first place and just expressed how he felt.
Well, that's how the movie starts, where he's talking to a waitress, practicing, rehearsing of what he could say, and he does try, but the thing is, he's scared and he's shy. He's fear of rejection, which I get it. We've all been there, but that's life.
Yeah,
I've been rejected.
And that happens. Rejection happens.
Yes.
You gotta learn to move on because there is that person out there. Listen, if homicidal serial killers can find love, or fat obese men, or I don't know,
or if Lou Costello found a hot girlfriend in the old movies,
you can find love too.
Right, exactly.
No, I do mean that for the.
Yes, we do mean that. Yes, of course.
Okay.
No, of course not, and. But also that's the other thing too. Again, not to give too much away. There's another girl that he's friends with. That again, the moral is love was right in front of him when he least expected. But again, I don't get too much away. That's how I'm going to end it right there with obsession.
All right, I'm going to have to track this film. I'm going to have to track this film down.
Right.
And then probably
even if you don't see it in the theaters, at least see it at some point through streaming.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to spend money on the theaters. I'll probably wait until it comes out on streaming to catch it. Like we said before, it's going to take me a lot to get me back in theaters.
Yeah, right, because I don't know, I feel like with me with going to the movies, it's mostly horror movies, or maybe sometimes something else that's not horror.
And I mean, the price has to be right. It's expensive to go to the movies.
That's true, and also because, I don't know if you saw, James Rolfe did a video about the problem with modern day, movie experience with... I
didn't watch it, but I saw it in my subscriptions. I gotta check it out.
Yes, because he basically talked about how, not only is it just the prices, it's also, how they have... X, Y, and Z, and also the snacking. It used to be just simple candy, popcorn. Now it's hot dogs, pizza.
Yeah, you can have a full course meal.
Yeah,
pizza and.
It's probably.
I'm at that point, you just sneak in a full pizza.
That's not really. And plus, Lord knows that those hot dogs are even freshly made, or they were probably.
Oh, you know they're not. You know they're not. Listen, there's your horror movie right there.
Yeah.
What is the movie theater really serving you?
Right. And well,
Hot
and
dogs are made of people.
well, here's the thing. Not that I don't mind popcorn, but I will admit, yes, I've snuck in snacks or my own popcorn. But when I went to go see the second Obsession film, I bought my own popcorn that day because I just didn't have time to
Yeah.
bring my own. But anyway, here's my point, though.
Don't ask where the hot dog meat comes from.
Yeah, exactly.
It's people. It's people. I'm telling you,
Here's
somebody's gonna take that
here's
idea.
my point.
Somebody's
I
gonna take that idea. I guarantee it.
Yeah, probably. But here's my point, though. I remember an ex-girlfriend I used to date a long time ago. Anytime we went to the movie, she wanted popcorn. That's fine, but she liked that butter stuff. I'm like, ugh, this butter was crap and terrible.
Depending on where you go, the butter can be really good. But depending on where you go, it's all about where you go.
I don't know, because it's not even real butter they use.
Yeah, no. You're better off. You're better off just getting like your own butter.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. Well, I don't even ask for the butter. I just want the popcorn bites. I'm okay with the salt taste. That's fine. No butter. Yeah, exactly.
No butter.
But that's the beauty of breaking up with an ex-girlfriend. It's like, you know what? I never have to eat that butter again as long as I live in my life.
I love that that's your takeaway. Now that I've broken up with my girlfriend, I don't have to worry about her butter no more. Some butter flakes, some butter popcorn, no butter. No butter.
Yeah.
Oh.
And that's why she's called an ex-girlfriend.
I'll never have to eat that butter again.
Well, that, and also it seems like James Rolfe also said that movie theaters seem to be like a Dave and Buster's. They got arcades and
yeah, like I said, it's become a novelty, but it's
right.
It's a very expensive novelty. It's not
but I know the budget myself at the movie theaters.
Yeah, it's not like you can go to the movies for like $8 or whatever, right? It's super expensive.
My grandparents are living. Well, now they're passed away. They were living proof about when they remember when a movie theater ticket cost 5 cents in a day.
Can we go back to that? Oh my God! I would go see so many movies for 5 cents.
Same.
So many movies. They don't even have to be good. I could just see slop. You know, I could see.
Well, they
could show me Turd Man. Turd Man and Turd Man 2. That's not an actual movie. I'm making it up for the bit. But they could show me Turd Man and Turd Man: The Second Coming. All presented by Troma, and Troma would do it.
Right. Or like Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. I Married Satan 1 and 2.
Right. Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, and now Baby Vision. Elvira, the Twins of Evil. They're both attached to it.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you know, like I said, the prices are.
Expensive.
Yeah, you know, they would help if they would bring it down. But even if it was cheap to go see a movie, with the advent of streaming, or if you're like me and you like to yo-ho, right?
Well, you know, every once in a while I go to a movie for escapism. That's the point.
Right. But it's almost, even if the prices weren't expensive, most people would, especially when it comes to dates, whatever, most people would just rather sit at home, you know, get their local popcorn from either Walmart or Wawa or whatever.
Make their own.
Dollar Tree, right?
Yeah.
And get a couple candies from there for half the price.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And sit at home in their pajamas. They don't have to get up. They can.
That's true.
You could watch that. Maybe you won't have the sound, crazy surround sound. Maybe.
Right.
You know.
Right.
But
here's
you could watch it in the comfort of your own home.
Right. Well, here's another thing about the movie theater experience. Like whenever you look at what time is the movie playing, but it's like you have to wait like 15. It's like similar with like before a football game starts. They're never true when they say, "Oh, the football game's going to start at 7." No, it started in an hour because they had the national anthem or so and so was singing before the game.
Right. The previews for the previews. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Previews within previews, or all these other like dumb commercials that don't make any sense. Yeah.
Have you tried?
Yes.
A
it's like I
pretzel
rushed.
dipped in
I rushed.
butter, dipped in chocolate. We
I
call it
rushed
the
all.
food
I
coma
rushed all the.
pretzel.
I rushed all the way for nothing. For like, oh, well, the theater didn't start until at least
Yes.
2:15 is when it started instead of 2 o'clock.
Yes. Are you pooping irregular? Try like seriously. All these bits are all these jokes I'm doing right now. I feel like they could do a Kentucky Fried Movie Part 2. No one under like maybe 40 to 50 would get that. By the way,
Right.
unless you like classic movies like me.
Yes.
But yeah, I feel like maybe the Wayans brothers can get on this and do a parody of like the movie industry and
Right.
movie commercials, kind of
Right.
like Kentucky Fried Movie.
Well, did you see the new Scary Movie or?
I need to see it, but again, I would see it at home.
Fair enough.
I would see it at home. I would get my snacks and
Right.
watch it at home.
Well, I admit I've only seen bits and pieces of each one of those films. I never thought they were that funny.
Oh wait, you talking about the films in general?
In general, yeah, I never thought they were that funny.
Um, they're funny. You know, the first two for me, and part of the third movie.
Right.
After that, it was just they lost the plot.
The only thing I was that was worthy of watching was all of Leslie Nielsen's scenes.
Oh yeah, he's the best part.
Yes,
but even like the worst
tries.
movie, like the worst one of those movies, like superhero movie.
Right.
He is the best part of that movie.
He's putting on his A game no matter what. He's putting it seriously.
God rest in power.
Yeah,
rest in power, right?
It's superhero movie. With great power comes great hot bitches.
Seriously. Like rest in power.
Or like the part like when he comes back home after getting bitten by the dragonfly, and he's like reading a medical book about fluid retention, mood swings, and one month you'll bleed from your vagina.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I mean, when it comes to him in Scary Movie, all I can think about is him. What was it? He was the president, right?
Yes.
In that movie, they're scrambling my brain.
Yes. When he's like giving before, like he thought the handicapped kids were aliens.
Yeah.
Yes. Or the fourth movie, he makes an announcement to the United Nations of how they can stop the alien invasion, and the machine makes him naked.
You and I, and he starts peeing out of his finger.
Yes. Yeah.
I hope that anybody watching knows at least some Scary Movie 4 lore.
Right. Well, you know, also in the second, I think it was the third movie where the aliens wiped out the hood, and he's like, send flowers to the bitches in a
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I like the third one. My favorite moment in the third one is the TV gag with the ring.
Right.
Cindy, I'm kicking her ass, Cindy.
Right.
I love. I forget that black chick's name. I forget her.
Regina King.
Regina King. She's
Regina King.
I love. She's one of my favorite parts of all the Scary movies.
Right.
I love her. She's awesome.
I remember the first Scary Movie. She parodied the scene in Scream 2. Where
she technically died in. What was it? She died in the first one.
She did.
I think.
I haven't seen the film in a long time.
Her character. I think. No. Wait. Yes.
Yeah, because basically it parody within parody.
Yeah, I know, but I'm trying to think because in the first movie they stabbed her character to death. They parodied the what was it, second Scream?
The second Scream movie when they're at the theater, Jada Pinkett and her boyfriend, where they're watching the first Stab movie, and little do they know that there's the real ghost killer.
I think in the first Scary Movie she dies, and then they bring her back with no explanation.
Right.
No explanation at all.
In
the second one.
Right. But like I haven't seen Scary Movie in now I
gotta rewatch it. Now I gotta rewatch it. Probably.
Maybe, but I make no guarantees on that one.
I have to be sure.
And speaking of, I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but on a small side note, as someone who loves the Scream movies, for once, Scream 7, it was a letdown for me. I'm disappointed.
I'm surprised you stuck out for that long.
I'm surprised. Hey, I'm surprised. I'm not saying that the Scream movies are perfect. I thought, okay, I haven't seen a bad one yet. That's just me. For a while,
I know you love the Scream movies a lot more than I do, but I hung in there. I did. I think I got up to 6, and then after 6, I was like, okay.
Again, that's just me. I'm not saying this is a perfect franchise. I was enjoying it up until this point, but
I like the newer ones. Yeah.
Yeah, they were fun. They were fair. They were okay. They were decent, not great, just okay. They didn't try too hard.
Yeah, I honestly think they were better reboots than the Halloween and Texas.
Right, that's true. Because, like I said, on a personal, I enjoyed the Carpenter Sisters, but that's just me, and I did enjoy the Core 4, but I also didn't like how, because of Melissa Barrera, that was fired from the last 2 because of her Instagram post on Israel, whatever the heck she was posting.
I just think.
But anyway,
silly.
Oh, it is. Yeah. Let's just say that she may not be back for another Scream film, but she's still going strong. That's the good news for her. Yeah.
Well, Hollywood.
Yeah. And also, I didn't like the whole comments. I mean, I get the point of like what they were trying to do about deepfakes and AI, but it's like, yeah, but this is kind of shallow and just not done intelligently.
Yeah, like I feel like in the hands of a better writer.
Right. Yeah, and I hate to say it.
It could have been interesting.
I hate to say it. Kevin Williamson, I mean, as much as he's done okay writing, but directing, not so much.
Not everybody got 1,000.
Right, that's just because he writes in Hollywood doesn't mean he can direct, but everyone's got their niche.
Yep, just because you can play bass does not mean you could sing.
That's true too. Yeah, like just because John Williams is a good composer doesn't mean he can sing.
Yes.
Yes. And also, on a side note, that I won't reveal who the killers were, but it's like, who the heck were these killers? We barely had a chance to know who they were.
Who are you people?
Right. I mean, we saw them earlier, but we barely had time to know them because...
Well, that's how I felt about the last one I saw in 6.
Right.
I was like, who were these again? Oh, they're the
they used to
cousins of what's his face?
They were... That was his father and sister and brother. That's who they were.
Right. Something like that. Of the guy that was in the movie for like 15 minutes that I barely noticed.
Well, Scream 3, they used to complain about the character Roman being a weak
I like Scream 3, man.
So do I. It's not perfect, but it's okay.
I think the reveal was pretty interesting.
Right. At least we had a chance to know who Roman was before we found out he was the killer to a degree. It's like, okay, at least we got to know who he was.
Spoilers for like a 20 to 30-year-old movie now.
Yeah, it's 26 if you want to go
26.
that far. Yeah. When I rewatched Scream,
drinking age.
When I rewatched Scream 3 because I did a video on it, because I'm trying to catch up to all the Scream films I've been doing videos on, and I'm like, okay, it's not the best or the worst, but I get why it's not the best Scream 3 because the characters, the new characters who were like basically the actors of Stab 3, they're kind of lame and hit or miss and not the best written.
Yeah, on my side, in terms of catching up on horror films or more of a filmography, I would say, I've been on a tear of David Lynch films, actually.
Right.
I just got done with Mulholland Drive, I believe it's pronounced.
Yes, Mulholland Drive, which is a local
weird movie, but it's Lynch.
It is.
I liked it.
I haven't seen it in years since.
It's a weird movie.
It was.
And,
I remember it.
Yeah, it's very Lynch, but it just makes me want to watch Twin Peaks again, the original Twin Peaks.
On a sad side note, the only part I remember about it was the lesbian scene. Sorry.
Yeah, and that kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, spoiler alert for like a 20-year-old movie.
25, 2001.
25?
Yeah, it came out in 2001, so you're close.
Yeah, 25. Yeah. So
I know. I have to revisit the film. I haven't seen it in like over a decade.
It's good. It's really good. It's really good.
But I agree. It was kind of weird. I just didn't know what to make.
Weird is to be expected with Lynch.
Right. That's true.
It's kind of like going into a Rob Zombie movie and expecting it not to be weird.
Right. Well,
but I don't know. Over time, I've really gone more of an appreciation for Lynch's movies. When
Right.
I was
Well,
younger, I was like, "Oh, this is really, really cool." But
right. Well,
as I've gotten older, I've really appreciated them for being a good, just
right.
really good piece of
Purity.
art.
Right.
Weird, but really good piece of art.
Right.
And it's a shame that, like, he's gone now, because unlike Tarantino, I'm not really a big Tarantino fan.
We know.
Yeah, yeah. I'm telling the audience that doesn't know or did not
Right.
follow
Mr.
any of our
Mr.
episodes.
Mr. Foot Fetish.
Yes, yes. But David Lynch, for me, it's more of the opposite. I love the fact that he views movies as art,
Right.
in a non-pretentious way. You could really see in interviews that he really loves making movies, and he really, really, really loves movies.
Right.
And he
No.
likes, using. I love that he put. I loved how he put it in this way. He said, "Movies are a form of language to where
Right.
you can express a feeling," and it's just
Right.
like, yeah, I totally get that. And yeah, his films are weird and out there, but I'll take weird, surreal, and out there
Right.
that'll make
Well,
you
that's like.
think over something that is
Well, that's.
so pretentious. Which I have to admit, some of his films can be a little pretentious,
Right.
but I don't think it's ever intentional. I don't think he's one of those guys of, look how deep I am. What does
Right.
this mean? That kind of
Right.
thing. I
Well,
really think
that's the
he
way I
just
see.
kind of goes with an idea and experiments with it.
Well, that's the way I feel about with Tim Burton. I'm always like sucked into his like the world of the gothic
Yeah, and,
atmospheres
and,
and.
and the more time passes, the more I miss old Tim Burton.
Right.
Tim Burton hasn't really been Tim Burton in a while, if you get what I'm saying. Like when he went on the remake tangent with Sweeney Todd and
I didn't see
Sweeney
that.
Todd the film and Alice in Wonderland, he hasn't really been Tim Burton,
No,
really.
he's not like what he was back in the '80s and the '90s and early
No, I mean,
2000s.
I long for the days where he actually puts out something original, something
Right.
that's very him, and not a remake, not an adaptation of something.
Right.
Well, I
Right.
mean, you can make the argument that Nightmare Before Christmas was an adaptation of something, and so was Batman, but
Well,
I
Nightmare
don't
Before
know.
Christmas was something original. It was like not based on anything. It was just
Right,
something he created.
and so is Batman. But I don't know. Like, I go back, and maybe it's nostalgia. Maybe it is. Maybe it's nostalgia.
It is. Nostalgia's a powerful thing.
Yeah, it is a powerful thing. It's a good drug.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good drug. But I go back and I look at how it used to look, and the typical classic Burton look, and I'm like, where did that go?
Right.
I was like, yes, it's in Alice in Wonderland, buried underneath all the CG, but it's
Right. Well, I think with Tim
not
Burton, it's like
feel right.
with Tim Burton, it could be you could
But again,
maybe like blame you could blame the studios for like maybe like interfering or maybe having taken too control over him than what
right.
he would want to do.
Yeah, exactly. All
Like I
right.
said, like I said before, I thought his new Beetle. I mean, maybe it was a sequel to Beetlejuice, but I thought his sequel to Beetlejuice was excellent. I mean, that's just my opinion.
No, I enjoyed it too.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it too. I think that was the closest to what I was looking
Right,
for.
but don't expect him to make another Batman film because he's admitted that he's not a comic book person, and also because of Batman Returns is why he's not directing more comic book movies.
And I'm kind of surprised, looking back on the Alice trilogy, that he never really. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with this video game, but he never adapted the McGee version of Alice in Wonderland.
No idea what that is.
All right. Well, you have to look it up on your own time, but that adaptation of Alice in Wonderland is tailor-made for Burton.
Right.
I've always thought that those designs they're already very Burton inspired.
Right.
But the premise in that scenario is Alice, after returning from Wonderland, is put in an asylum,
Right.
and the affects of the asylum take root in Wonderland, and everything becomes twisted and Burtonized, and
Gotcha.
and it's like I said, look up some of the artwork, and you'll go, yeah, Burton should have done this.
Right. Right.
Um,
And okay, this is something I also want to mention. I've recently been I guess you could say, on a quest of meeting more famous people. Recently, I met Felissa Rose from Sleepaway Camp, Edward Furlong, aka John Connor, John Russo, who was the co-writer of George Romero's Night of the Living Dead,
Nice.
and I met Adrian Barbeau and Lynn Lowry.
Nice. Very,
Yes.
very nice.
Oh yeah, it's been a lot of fun meeting certain people I've enjoyed, had the pleasure of meeting.
Yeah.
Especially Felicia Rose. She gave me 3 hugs.
Yeah, I have to mention this. Speaking of, I never actually mentioned this, but I had taken a glass boat trip here in Florida.
Nice.
And I had discovered that Florida has some history. I'll give you
Yes.
the picture. I'll give you the pictures because this is in
Yes.
relation to some movies. I got a chance to take a picture of the original Creature from the Black Lagoon
Nice.
suit. So absolutely, I'll have to send you that, and you'll have to post a picture of that and post it
Yes,
somewhere.
absolutely.
But yeah, I had taken a bunch of pictures of some of the films that were shot there. The original '50s Tarzan was
My
shot
dad used to watch
there.
those. I used to watch with my dad the Tarzan movies with John Weissmuller.
Yeah, Silver Springs actually is where it was.
That sounds fun.
And yeah, and there's a lot of really rich history. Legend, the film Legend, with Tom Cruise and Tim Curry. A lot of the water scenes in that movie were filmed right in Florida.
Gotcha. I never saw Legends.
It's a great movie. It's a great movie. If you ever want to see one of the best depictions of the devil, look
Right.
up Tim Curry's.
Yeah, I know Tim Curry. Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't know Ridley Scott directed it. I like Ridley Scott.
Yeah, it's a good movie. If you want some old school fantasy, it's a great movie.
Well, I have a question. Is this going to sound sacrilegious if I say this?
No.
It's just, as much as we love George Lucas and Star Wars, but I'm sad to say this, Ridley Scott's the better director than him because Ridley Scott has a better filmography than Lucas had.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to be a size queen about it, but yeah, I mean, I love both for very, very different reasons.
So do I.
Ridley captures a very dystopian future. See also Blade Runner.
Yes.
And Alien. You know, and I mean, for lesser terms,
besides those films, I loved. He did Black Hawk Down, Gladiator, and Thelma and Louise.
Also Black Rain as well.
I never saw that.
With Michael Douglas. You should check it out. If you need more Blade Runner in your life, and you want an action film from the late '80s, early '90s, check out Black Rain.
The only thing I did not like of his was Hannibal, the sequel to Silence of the Lambs, and his Alien prequel movies like Coven.
I forgot that he directed Hannibal.
Yeah, you're not missing anything about Hannibal from 2001, the sequel to Silence of the Lambs.
I remember seeing that way back when I was a teenager and liking it. I don't know if I feel the same. No, I have no.
Well, I watched it during COVID, and that was a painful movie to watch while in lockdown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were thinking brains.
Yeah, that's.
Brains.
I haven't seen it in a long time. I remember that scene where he basically cuts Ray Liotta's brain, he eats his own brain. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, he was gonna start speaking like the guy in Usual Suspects.
Yeah. Prometheus and Alien Covenant were just a little bit very convoluted and confusing and kind of a drag at times.
Yeah, I always, if we're gonna talk about Silence of the Lambs, I have to mention Manhunter.
That's a great one.
I've always liked. I mean, Anthony Hopkins is Anthony Hopkins, and his
Right.
Lecter is unmatched. But that version of Lecter with different spelling, I really think should be praised. I
Right.
I really think it's so overlooked and has a different type of creepiness.
Right.
I think where Lecter's creepiness is, he's a psychopath.
Yes.
He's a cannibal.
Yes.
Where Manhunter's Lecter, you don't know. You almost trust him.
Right. Well, he's barely in the movie
He
that
not only
much.
fools the doctor, but fools almost the viewer.
Right.
It's an interesting dichotomy. It's almost
Yeah.
like you can almost believe that he didn't do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, in a way, people will never know that Manhunter was the first Hannibal Lecter film.
It's the first Red Dragon specifically.
Well, that's true too. And there was Red Dragon the remake, which had Anthony Hopkins, which I've never seen. I seem to hear mixed things about that
Yeah,
one.
I was not a fan.
Okay.
I was not a fan. It was a little too convoluted for my taste.
Right.
I prefer Manhunter.
Right. I think the reason why they made Red Dragon is because Anthony Hopkins was big as Hannibal Lecter, and they're like, we got to make Manhunter
Absolutely.
again. Yeah.
Like really, I nothing against Ed Norton. Nothing. I
Right.
really think the reason why those movies took off was really down to just Anthony Hopkins just stealing the movies.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, like he was iconic, and not to say that Buffalo Bill wasn't iconic,
Or the Tooth
or
Fairy.
or Clarice Starling wasn't iconic, but Anthony Hopkins stole those movies.
Well, whenever I rewatch both movies of Manhunter and Silence of the Lambs, you kind of pick up different things compared to when I first watched it. Like,
Yeah,
not just like.
You can't go into Manhunter expecting Anthony Hopkins level
No.
Lecter. Not
No.
that it's not bad. It's different. It's
Right.
a completely different version of Lecter. It's
Right.
equally as good, but it's different. It's more grounded. It's more
Right.
real, if that makes
Well,
sense.
also in Silence of the Lambs, here's a woman who is like hired to like solve this crime of like who Buffalo Bill is, and she as a woman, she faces misogynistic, sexism,
Right. And they play on that. They play.
yes,
on that.
again, nothing I never would have thought about watching as a teenager like I do now.
Right. And one thing Manhunter does is it kind of plays on the fact that, like, the male detective, is kind of a failed male detective. Like, he's sort of a failure.
Right.
So
Well,
we're trying
he
to
also
catch.
he almost like was one of Hannibal Lecter's victims, and he had
Right.
post-traumatic stress disorder, and
Right.
being brought in on the case to find this killer takes over his life. It
Right.
consumes him.
So each film, and I would love to do like and it's essentially what we're doing now. But I would
A
love
little
to
bit,
do.
but
I would love to do like a comparison between the two.
right.
They're both dramatically different, but they're
That's
both
true.
awesome.
My friend gives a point about how, like, imagine if like Michael Mann, who did Manhunter, if he directed Silence of the Lambs, how would he have done it differently? Would he have changed things up? Would he have like cut? Because Michael Mann was more about masculinity, whereas in Silence of the Lambs it's about feminism.
Right.
Yeah, did two
Right.
different directing
You can
styles.
kind of see the overtones and stuff like that.
Yes.
Kind of.
Yes. Yeah. And so I think they're both great movies in their own ways and stuff. And the
Right.
beauty about it, you don't have to watch Manhunter before Silence of the Lambs.
No, like I
movies.
said, it's a completely different beast.
Yes.
You could watch Red Dragon and then watch Manhunter, and it's a completely different movie.
Right.
And it's not like either movie. Well, depending on your taste. I mean, I'm not a person. I don't personally care for Red Dragon,
I
but
haven't seen it, so I can't make a comment.
but they're both completely different beasts.
Right.
They're both completely different movies. You can go
Right.
in, and it's almost like you're watching a completely different movie. It's sort of like two different flavors of chocolate ice cream.
Two different brands of ice cream.
Well, yeah, two different brands. Like one is more rich, and then one is like more creamy.
Right.
You know, it's like which do you prefer? Do you prefer the rich?
Well, like I met again, like anything.
Or
I've met some people who liked Manhunter more than Silence of the Lambs, or Silence of the Lambs better than
I
Manhunter. It
like them
depends on
both.
taste.
I like them both, but to me,
Neutral.
they're two different movies.
Yeah.
They're two very different movies. I like them both, but for very, very different reasons.
Right. And the other thing too about like when you watch Hannibal Lecter, he really like gets under your skin the way like he tries to scare
and you're referring to the Hopkins version.
the Hopkins version. Yes.
Yeah, and like I said, not to undersell. I forget who plays Lecter, but the actor's
Brian
name.
Cox. And
Brian
the first
Cox,
one.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brian Cox plays the one in Manhunter. His Lecter isn't as menacing. It's not as menacing. But what makes it uncomfortable is you as a viewer can almost buy that he's innocent. He's almost friendly, right? Almost. Like almost, right? Like it's strange. He's sort of the opposite spectrum, where Hopkins Lecter, you absolutely can believe that he chops people up and eats them and laughs gleefully, and he's just an absolute menace.
Well, and he also like plays psychology on Clarice Learning.
Brian's portrayal is subtle.
Yeah.
It's very subtle, to where you can almost buy that maybe he's innocent.
Right.
And that makes it all the more scary.
Right.
Because he's more like the real version of Lecter, right?
Right.
He's more like Lecter grounded in reality. He's not theatric. He's not slithering. He's not doing all the Hopkins, grandiose theatrics. You can buy him as a real serial killer.
Right. My dad always loves the scene when my dad said that is like one of the smartest and clever like escape scenes in a movie or just anything in general. Like for me, you think like like Hannibal like escaped, but no, it was and the cop you thought was the cop. No, it was Hannibal Lecter dressed as the cop.
Right.
That disguised the skin.
Right. And it's one of those things, like I said, I would have loved to see, maybe in a parallel universe somewhere, I would have loved to see more of a Brian Cox version.
Right, well,
that
I guess
quiet menace I like a lot. I do.
Right.
In comparison, it's comparison to apples and oranges.
Right.
Both are delicious. Both are delicious, especially as juice. But like that's the only way I would recommend anybody go into Silence of the Lamb or Manhunt. Don't think of them as as comparing them. Or let's say you're coming off of Silence of the Lambs and then you go into Manhunter. It's a completely different movie. Completely different movie, completely different portrayals of the same or similar characters.
Right.
And if you go into that, you might have a better time digesting Manhunter's subtle version of Lecter over Hopkins' grandiose.
Right.
Machiavellian villain,
Right.
Anyway,
and also, In Search of Darkness, who did the 80s documentary, they're coming out with a 70s horror documentary, which I'm very excited for.
I wonder now, what are they covering? Did they say what they're covering?
Yeah, they in the trailer they had like, little behind the scenes of interviews of like the actors, directors of like talking
I'm
about.
only asking because I haven't seen the trailer.
Well, basically the trailer they have. I don't remember who was in the trailer, but they talked to movie critics too about how some guy said that he saw Halloween when it came out, saying how it scared him. Like, lucky son of a gun,
Yeah, well,
be alive in '78.
that
I
was a
wasn't.
yeah, that was a turning point. The '70s horror, that was a turning point where
Absolutely.
we were going into the slasher genre, right?
A little,
It
yeah.
wasn't the birth of the slasher genre. I mean,
No.
you could trace that all the way back to Psycho,
Peeping Tom, actually.
Peeping Tom, technically.
Yes.
It started really in the '60s. Really.
Just remember, anybody. If Ghostface asks you what's the first slasher film, the answer is Peeping Tom. Remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, go on. Sorry.
But yeah, it started in the '60s, but
Right.
it didn't really flower until really the '80s.
Yeah.
It didn't become rock star status.
I feel like slashers were kind of rare when you had Psycho and Peeping Tom, but then the '70s and '80s is when it kind of picked up the slasher.
Yeah, and I don't know. I feel like nowadays, everyone kind of self quotes the past and tries to almost like I call it hipster vision. The films that obviously try to not just inspire the '80s and '90s and past decades, but try and emulate that aesthetic.
Well, that's
Kind of come off as trying too hard. They have the film grain, they've got the red light, they've got the synthwave music, but I don't know. It always seems to me. Now, I don't speak to every film out there, but from the films that I have seen, it always kind of seems very, very disingenuous, like trend following. Like, okay, you've seen older movies, we get it.
yes.
But it seems like the young kid, going to his grandpa and being like, I'm Jason too, and he's got a Jason mask that doesn't really or kind of looks like it, but it's a little off, right?
Right.
Or I can be 80s too.
I'm
And
surprised
like I said, I'm not talking about the ones that genuinely have love letters to that era, but I am talking about those few what I like to call hipster horror movies that try and emulate that aesthetic.
But hey, I'm surprised when I go to like a convention, I see like little kids there, like dressed as Jason. I'm like, oh, I'm surprised their parents let them watch this.
Well, it's a different era, It's weird,
It is.
It's and you got to keep in mind, especially the older horror movies, they're in the zeitgeist. I remember as a kid, never watched a horror movie in my life as a kid, as like an 8-year-old kid, but I knew the names. I knew Jason Voorhees. I knew Freddy Krueger. I knew, Chucky. I knew all that stuff. That was in the. It continues to be in that pop culture zeitgeist.
Right.
And I think as a kid, if you're growing up and you see that thing and you know it's forbidden because you're a kid,
right? Well, as a kid,
that's kind of cool.
Before I saw the first original Halloween film, H2O was the first one I saw before.
Yeah, that might have been one of the first Halloween movies I might have seen.
Same, and at that time I did not know that it was a franchise. I didn't know anything about the first movie.
No, I remember briefly seeing. I think back in the day when I was a little kid on Halloween, oddly enough, I might have seen a snippet of Resurrection or H2O. I'm not really sure.
Well,
somebody was getting killed by Michael Myers. I want to say it was Resurrection because I recognized him. Years later, I recognized the mask as the Resurrection mask.
Right. Well, years later, when Resurrection came out, that's when I first learned that it was a franchise. I remember being a little kid watching TV with my dad. My dad's flipping through channels, and they had like one of those like, oh, Halloween marathon promos. I remember being scared and running out.
Pumpkinhead was the other snippet I saw as a kid.
Right.
I remember seeing the scene where Pumpkinhead is like coming alive and
right,
kind of scaring me as a kid.
Right.
You know, but yeah, you know, as a kid, I think now it's so easy to just stream it by yourself without supervision. We're not condoning that. Parents, please parent your kids. Yes. By the way, please don't let your kids watch traumatizing horror films.
Right.
Make sure that they are supervised and they keep their innocence.
Well, as a kid, there was no stream. I watched it on DVD.
No, you and I were the last generation where we did not have streaming. No. We had things come on TV.
Yes.
Right? We had things come on TV and
VHS tapes, DVDs.
VHS tapes, DVDs. We're also the last of the VHS.
Yes. We feel so old.
We're getting there, buddy.
Yes.
We're getting there, buddy. We're, as the kids say, and this is gonna date us. Whereas the kids say, we're unk. We're unk. People would say, "What you doing, unk?" I'll be like, "I ain't no unk, but okay."
Yeah. And another small side note: Anthony Head, who played Giles from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, recently passed away.
Yeah, and let me just clarify. That's the series.
This is the TV show, yes. Okay. Not the '90s, not the movie from the early '90s.
Okay, yeah, I wanted to clarify. I was like, 'cause I briefly saw the movie, very recently, actually, for the first time. I'm going to say like 2 years ago. I always knew of the series. But yeah,
like I said, no, I was not aware of a movie until like after watching the TV show, and I get why some people enjoy the movie, but I like the show better.
In my personal taste, I really didn't care for either.
Okay.
But if I had to pick, I actually prefer the movie.
Okay.
But
gotcha. Well, watch out for Sarah Michelle Gellar not stab you for that.
Valley girls everywhere. Anyway.
And I've seen Christy Swanson at like conventions, but I've never met her though.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Nothing against her. It's like, I'm not that desperate to meet her.
I need to be more desperate.
Actually, she was in a Wes Craven film I watched when I was doing 80s streaming with my girlfriend. It was called Deadly Friend, which was not the best.
Yeah! I haven't seen that movie in years. That's the one with Mama Fratelli, the actress who plays Mama Fratelli from the Goonies, the old woman, and I think that's the one where she uses a basketball to explode her head or something like that. Something weird.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, you're right. Oh yes, you're right. Yes.
I see it in my head.
Before I saw that movie, I was familiar with that, but I did not know what movie it was from. Though that I did not know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was okay, not great. For what I read, it sounded like Wes Craven had a crazy production problem with it because the studio interfered with it a lot.
I don't remember it being that good.
It was okay, nothing special.
Yeah, I remember going, "Oh my God, that's Mama Fratelli! Oh my God!"
Yeah, exactly. People might recognize the basketball death scene.
Yeah, that's all I remember. And I always confused the basketball with like a pumpkin for some reason. I don't know. Mandela effect.
Yeah. And also Wes Craven was going through a divorce process that time. I guess you can say he was going through hell during the making of that movie with his career and social life outside of the movie.
I'm surprised he never made something akin to that, like The Honeymoon Killer.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, it's funny. Makes me think of there was a Sam Kinison skit. Sam Kinison was an old school '80s comedian. Not to get off a tangent, but he had a premise for a honeymoon killer, a guy
Right.
that kills husbands' wives on their wedding day. Yeah. And and no
That's,
one wants to catch the wives because no one wants to catch the killer because they all have wives that they all hate.
that reminds me of a
And
small.
one of the things the killer does, after he kills the wives, he swings out of the church window and he yells to the husband, "You'll thank me later."
That, that kind of reminds me of a small episode where there were some guys kidnapping couples before they were married, testing on like whether or not if they loved each other. If they basically failed the test, lying that they loved each other, he killed them.
Yeah,
Yeah, it sounds. I'm sure that's probably been done before, but I can't think of another movie or show that did something like
but I
that.
feel like that could be a horror comedy. That would be up there with
Possibly, maybe.
I married an axe murderer.
Oh yeah, there was with Mike Myers, the
Yes,
comedian.
yes,
I
woman,
saw I
woman.
saw that years ago.
Yeah, that movie is aged well.
Yeah. Well, I saw that a long time ago when I was a little kid before I even knew that was
You
Mike
should watch it
Myers.
again.
I might give it a revisit. I'll give it another viewing.
Yeah, I'm glad they never went. I'm glad they went. They never went with their original cast.
Right.
Do you know who they were going to originally cast
No.
for
Who?
Mike Myers' part?
Who?
Woody Allen.
Uh,
They wanted to make it more Jewish centric for
but
some reason.
instead they went the Mike Myers route because he's
I'm glad they did because it's funny.
right. Yeah, I can't imagine him in that role for some reason, even though that would be his kind of role, but
Yeah,
still, it's
he'd be like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I married an axe murderer. She's like half
right.
my age, and I'm like,
Right.
hey, creep. My name is Woody Allen."
Well, actually, believe it or not, Annie Hall was supposed to be like a murder mystery love story, but yet
I've never actually seen Annie Hall. Actually,
I haven't. Please, people, don't cancel or judge me for being a Woody Allen fan.
I'm not a Woody Allen fan at all.
That's okay.
I don't like Woody Allen. He's a creep. He's a big
Right.
creepo.
That's right. But let's not make this into a Woody Allen moment podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah, the less said, the better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, is there anything else you want to cover?
No, I think I covered about everything that I got out of my system today.
All right. Then we can end it here. I've been Wolfman Sam, here with my partner, co-host Johnny Gunz. We've been Creatures of Night.
See y'all next time.
Till next time.